Welcome to another episode.
Part 2.
Part 4. Or 3. Part 3.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
This is part 3.
This is part 3.
Since in part 3, we're finally figuring out how we're going to cut this up.
Part 3.
Behind the scenes.
Our Zone Fighter commentaries. This is going to be for episodes 11 through 15. We got our pirated DVD that we bought.
Yeah, we purchased this illegally.
We purchased this illegal thing legally, but it's okay. I support piracy if you can't get anything over here legally.
Yeah, you definitely have to have that caveat on there because you leave it at just I support piracy.
No,
that
I
sounds
don't.
bad.
I really don't support piracy, but I do support piracy if there was no American distribution. Screw it.
As a budding filmmaker, I really hope that you do not support piracy.
I do definitely not support piracy.
Here we are.
I buy everything, and I rent on Amazon and everything like that. I haven't done piracy big time since high school. I was
going to say, that would have been me as well.
Yeah. All right. So you buy all your CDs now. Look at that. Physical copies, too.
Yes, sir.
All right. And that's because there's no money in the music industry. That's honestly like a huge part of it. And you want to support your bands that are now making like a
small pittance off digital plays. It's like every 10,000 plays is like I don't know. They get nothing.
It's terrible.
Yeah, we should start the episode and then we'll get into it.
They don't even make that much money live either because they're always
constant touring. Constant touring.
Concerts now, they're usually like big tours with like 6 bands when they're medium-sized bands.
I'm seeing Deftones, Rise Against, and Thrice together, and those bands alone, Deftones or Rise Against alone, should be able to hold their own, but you're right.
They don't?
Nope, not in today's modern music market.
All right.
Say that 10 times fast. Zone Fighter 11.
Episode 11, starting in 3, 2, 1.
Episode 11. Joe, we're starting off strong today. You should turn the volume up just a teeny bit.
I definitely should.
Since I don't know if we made that clear in part 1 and 2, we may have flippantly mentioned it, but this is the first time Joe and I are reviewing these as well. Joe, at this volume, is anything going to come through the mics?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Probably not.
All right. But starting off strong, this episode features not only Godzilla, our second appearance of Godzilla so far in the series, also Gigan. Oh yeah, Joe's favorite robot, cyborg chicken.
My absolute favorite, Joe.
It would make me so happy if they actually got a little bit more into what Gigan is in this episode. Because we had so much speculation into Gigan's origins during Godzilla vs. Gigan. Okay. I doubt it will, but perhaps.
This episode is called In a Hair's Breadth, The Roar of Godzilla. And I'm getting this little episode synopsis from sci-fi-japan.com.
Yep.
It originally aired on June 11th, 1973. It was directed by veteran Godzilla kaiju movie director called Jun Fukuda, director of special effects.
I'm pretty sure he directed the Godzilla vs. Gigan movie. I'm pretty sure that was him.
He did. Yeah. Directed the parts that weren't just stock footage, which is sad. He didn't like that part. Director of special effects was Teruyoshi Nakano. It was written by Kazuhisa Hattori. And this is the synopsis. A car installed with a newly developed engine is entered into a race, and Hikaru is chosen as the driver. Prior to the race, Hikaru, who is Zone Fighter, takes the car on a test run when he discovers the brakes fail to work. Even after transforming into Zone Fighter, he finds himself unable to escape from the vehicle. How did you find it?
Sounds like a Garogan conspiracy.
In truth, the car has been substituted for a duplicate designed by the Garoga, aided by Hikaru's racing rival Sasaki. With Zone Fighter, yes, that's his racing rival. With Zone Fighter trapped inside, the Garoga transport the vehicle to a scrapyard and suspend it inside a car compactor. Now regretting what he has done, Sasaki attempts to save Hikaru, but is killed without mercy by the Garoga. Wow, we get a death here.
Oh, no.
Not a Garogan death either. Meanwhile, of course, he is, the other race car driver, I guess. Might as well kill him. Meanwhile, Angel and Junior take Smokey to the scrapyard to save Zone Fighter, but find themselves ambushed by a group of Garoga. Suddenly, Godzilla appears. Looks like in our third act, Godzilla's going to appear. As the Garoga make their escape, they fire a Terror Beast missile and release the monster Gigan. Just in time, Godzilla is able to sever the power lines leading to the car compactor, allowing Zone Fighter time to escape. As Godzilla's battle with Gigan continues, Zone joins Angel and Junior. The three raid the Garoga base where they find the murdered Sasaki and are successful in driving off the Garoga. After defeating Gigan, Godzilla retreats, but Gigan is soon able to revive. Zone Fighter immediately transforms into his giant form and successfully destroys Gigan once and for all. And I think, well, that might be the case, because I don't think Gigan shows up in the Godzilla series after this. So
Yeah, he was in Megalon, but this takes place, so this is the real destruction.
So this is after that.
This is the real destruction of the Showa-era Gigan. I mean, he'll appear in later eras, but, yeah, because this is post, in the Toho chronology, this is canon, this series, post Godzilla vs. Megalon, and that was Gigan's final appearance in the main Godzilla films.
You were telling me earlier that Gigan is different in this episode.
Yeah,
as far as you know,
one has to say, outside of the context of the series, it's definitely due to special effects budget constraints. But Gigan neither has his chest buzzsaw ability, nor I think we'll have to see. But I read that he doesn't have any sort of like laser beam abilities.
Oh.
So his ability in this episode is that his scythes, upon contact with anything, cause explosions. Sounds real cheap, special effects wise. I had to explain yesterday. There was a few things that were funny that I was telling my girlfriend because of the 4 hours we spent yesterday. Right. This is day 2 for us.
Yeah,
watching
spend another 4 hours
Fighter.
Today watching these things.
I told her how pissed off I was getting having to say Garogan about like 100 times at least within the 4 hours we recorded yesterday. Why can they not have an easier to say name?
Garoga.
The Gogans, the Go Men.
Garogan.
I don't know. Something that's
Garogan.
less syllables. And the worst was Garogan Gorilla.
Garogan Gorilla. Well, it might have a different name if someone had translated it into English. So that's just
true.
Sort of
that's true.
Japanese
it's a direct
name for
translation, yeah.
So,
in the premise of this episode, it seems we're going to get a lot of
Speed Racer.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. Oh, wow.
They just left a locker room. This is obviously where all the drivers for this test course. I'm assuming all this racing's taking place at the test course where Hikaru works. Here's Hikaru's episode, who he's kind of the main highlight of most episodes anyway. It's kind of an interesting way to show off. Well, this one
we've seen him at the racetrack before, but we've never seen him like at
an extensive
the racetrack.
Yes, we've never seen an extensive part of an episode at the racetrack. They seem to always find him there. They're like, we got to find Hikaru, and of course he's at the racetrack.
Remember, we did just go through like a big 2-parter.
Yeah,
and so like the series getting pretty dark, and now we're almost to the midpoint. Might as well get like a little breather.
Yeah.
So in this episode, we're going to see some racing.
I know it's never going to happen, but I would not at all mind an episode where, I don't know, perhaps plot device wise, the Garogans do something to disable Hikaru's Zone Fighter powers. So the whole episode's just focused on the racing and like an actual rivalry between, something that's less sci-fi. I know that's weird because we're watching obviously this for sci-fi, fantasy, fighting, crazy action.
I'm watching it for
a grounded episode, I feel would be welcome. Just one. We don't need to make it any more than that, but maybe Zone Fighter and Zone Angel have like a fight off to the side and Hikaru pulls through even without his powers. That's not going to happen.
No, that's not going to happen because we reread the synopsis.
Well, not in this one.
He doesn't get out of the car because his own fighter abilities don't help him, so someone else has to help him get out of the car.
What was no surprise in you reading that synopsis is that Godzilla appears in the third act. That was the same with Godzilla's last appearance. I believe it was episode 4 or around there. It's like we were waiting for Godzilla, when's Godzilla going to show up? And in that episode, the previous one Godzilla made an appearance in, there were two monsters simultaneously just beating up Zone Fighter. He was getting his butt handed to him, and Godzilla appears and just takes the monsters out, just handles the situation like a Godzilla boss. Yeah, exactly. And it was really the last couple minutes of the episode. So I expected nothing less of Godzilla's second appearance, where Godzilla is in the episode right at the tail end.
So, how does this show stack up to Power Rangers?
I was really trying to wrap my head around it yesterday, having consumed 4 hours of the show in one sitting. I don't know, Joe, what were your expectations coming in? Because this has exactly met, which I didn't have high expectations. It's exactly met my expectations and done so far. Nothing really surprising. The biggest surprise that's come to me in watching the series is the emphasis on like the family, because I was expecting more of like a singular Superman, I guess even Spider-Man, but Spider-Man has its Aunt May, like a single hero off defending stuff, and just more on his lonesome, perhaps teaming up with other fighters along the way, but just mostly just him. So the emphasis on family was a surprise to me. The other thing was, and this is really the only other thing I can think of, is the explosions of the monsters. Because in Power Rangers, you get a hard cut where the monster falls back and it's an explosion, but there's no pieces of the monster. The monster was obviously not there.
The special effects are a little better in these early ones?
Well, yes, definitely better. They're definitely more enjoyable. It's just that they actually blow something up, and you see the debris of it going everywhere. So it's very obvious that pieces of the monster flying everywhere. That's been cool. From like the very beginning when they did that, I was pleasantly surprised, and they just keep doing it over and over. Really satisfying to see the monster explode.
I can't, we don't really know the history too much of this genre, but they still got the tights, and they get big, and they fight things. Don't they get big in Power Rangers? Am I crazy?
They have Zords. Should I get into that?
What is that? I don't honestly remember.
Okay, Zords are the giant vehicles that they jump into that form together to create like what is kind of it's a giant mecha, a giant robot that they control. But oh my goodness, I'm blanking.
So it's like a mech suit, like a big, huge.
Yeah, it's humanoid, and
like an Evangelion.
Yeah,
or Evangelion's like a Zord.
In a Zord with a
Zord.
They're Megazords.
Okay.
Yeah, Power Rangers just forever stuck in my head. But here, as far as I know, the Henshin Heroes genre, I don't know when Kamen Rider started. Again, we need to brush up on our details here. But Ultraman was certainly started in the 60s, I believe, I believe that was one of Tsuburaya's earliest television tokusatsu ventures. I'm not entirely sure whether Tsuburaya completely pioneered himself the tokusatsu like television genre, but in any case, man, we are as much crap as we can give the Zone Fighter series for being just kind of subpar and just very formulaic.
It is super formulaic.
This is the most popular, like, to this day it's extremely popular, but especially in the 70s, we're watching television that was so extremely popular, like television show after television show. Yeah, this type of show.
Yeah, but not this particular one.
Not this. This one was bombing or bombed. Hey, they got a full season. Perhaps it was all shot at once, and then they just released it.
All right, so Tsuburaya Productions was founded by Eiji Tsuburaya and run by his family from 1963 to October 2007.
That's earlier founding than when I thought. So 63 is when it was founded.
Yeah, the studio is best known for producing the original Ultraman.
Okay, so they did start out with Ultraman.
As well as the Ultra series, which I don't... Is that just more
it's
Ultraman?
going on today, man. Like G-Man of sci-fi-ed.com, who we had on our Godzilla's Revenge episode. Check that out if you haven't already. G-Man's great. Such a help to this podcast, but he is a huge Ultraman fan, and yes, Ultraman is going very strong to this day. So that's for a television series, man, spanning from 63 to 2017. That is a over 50-year span. That's amazing.
So Ultra Q, is that the rival show? What is this?
I believe it's also a spin-off or continuation. I mean, as Ultraman has progressed, there's been many different iterations of Ultraman.
So he produced both of them. So he produced Ultraman, Ultra Q, and this show.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
I was thinking about it today, Joe, and it's amazing.
I guess we got all the stuff for it. Might as well make 3 different shows based on the same
I mean,
idea.
If it's as popular as it is, and if a spin-off does well, I was thinking about it today, and it's surprising to me, just with the American mindset, that okay, to get into the episode for just a moment before we talk about the point I was going to make, that every single episode, there's some really scary stuff that goes on. This episode, Zone Fighter, and he again has morphed into the Zone Fighter human form. He's not giant. Trapped in the car. We saw him shoot at the window of the car, and it did nothing. The car blocked it. Oh goodness! He just said he's in the car, and he just said zone double time, and that obviously harmed him because he tried to grow, but it was trapped in the car. So the Garogan, for some reason I want to say Go Ranger, the Garogans have him trapped in this car, and they just showed off how they were crushing the last car. Oh my goodness! They have the actual suit actor in the car, stuck in the car. And he's just been pushed into what just crushed a car. It's like a junkyard. And, man, they go to like the nail-biting last second where you think that they're going to... I mean, they're obviously not going to harm them, but the stakes are always high in Zone Fighter. I remember my impressions watching the first season of Super Sentai, and a lot happens that is violent compared to... Like, we were seeing a lot of gunplay right now. Zone Fighter has Zone Jr. with a gun, and he's shooting at the Garogan henchmen. They're in the junkyard outside of where Zone Fighter's about to be crushed, and in reality, if they had just had him in the machine, he should be crushed. Godzilla.
Oh my god, there he is.
Godzilla.
Sweet.
This is a much earlier appearance than I expected.
Yeah,
this feels like
too.
It's about halfway through the episode.
Well, we got a whole bunch of... You got like 10 and 15 minutes of fighting to do.
Oh, and we need Godzilla to appear because not Gigan, Zone Fighter can't zone double time. Okay, that's another thing I had forgotten.
What?
You see how
Why does he have umbrellas or whatever?
They have parachutes attached to him because in the canon of Gigan, he's lost a lot of his abilities. Something about what happened in the movies upon facing... Okay, this just feels like a movie because we have just Gigan versus Godzilla. This is essentially the lost plot points to our Gigan versus Godzilla rivalry. What is pretty readily available is Godzilla versus Megalon and Godzilla versus Gigan. If you want to fully delve into the history between these two beasts, you need to watch
11.
Zone Fighter 11.
Zone Fighter.
I think Gigan's
wow, he's got his Godzilla's got his hopping feet on.
He's using some fancy footwork.
Yeah,
to take
fancy footwork. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of fast pacing from Godzilla before. Most of the time with these Godzilla...
Oh my gosh. They're actually crushing the car. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see
Zone
it.
Fighter was in the car. The actor, he's stuck in the car.
I see it. Okay.
They just cut it. But we saw in one shot the crushing car machine going down on the top of the car to completely flatten the car. He was in it. Then they luckily cut away and showed a different angle of the car where we couldn't see Zone Fighter and the car being crushed. So obviously the actor's not in the car at that point.
Is Godzilla going to save him?
He has to. I mean, that's
Oh, he did. He cut the power.
Literally. He karate chopped the power lines.
Karate chopped the power lines,
yes. Karate chopped the power lines that were on the way to the junkyard. So, I mean, we've seen Godzilla communicating. I put that in air quotes, communicating before in film. What movies were they? I mean, I think it was just Godzilla's Revenge.
All the ones I want to forget.
I believe it was just in Godzilla's Revenge where he's more...
Oh. Well, that was cool.
It's within Ichiro's dreams in that movie. So, according to Toho canon, Godzilla really can communicate with humans. I guess not humans, but Peacelandians.
Oh, Peacelandians, yeah. Godzilla must have some sort of psychic connection. You know, he is like the protector of Earth, I guess, at this point in the series.
Absolutely.
So maybe he's just like, oh, I know what's going on here. These Garogans have made this imposter Gigan.
As cool as, well, this is Gigan. This is a very deep and underpowered Gigan at this point. I don't think we really explained those. There were 3 parachutes that were helping Gigan to float through the air, and it's because apparently, canon-wise, he's lost a lot of his abilities. I don't know the reasoning for that, but Gigan just bit Godzilla's tail. Godzilla's taking... Wow. So Godzilla is lifting the entirety of Gigan using only his tail, with Gigan being bit onto his tail. So my question to this point, Joe, why doesn't Gigan just let go?
That's a good question. I mean,
Gigan's being smashed against the ground.
Maybe he's got like a
jaw lock or lockjaw.
Lockjaw, sure. Crocodiles or alligators, can't remember. I think alligators when they bite, they have all the muscles are towards the biting motion.
Yeah.
So that they can lock on to their prey, and they can like spin around and like rip carcasses apart. But they don't actually have like any muscle to open their jaws. So you can. That's why when Steve Irwin, rest in peace. That's why when Steve Irwin would jump into an alligator cage, he would grab them by the jaws because they don't actually have that much strength to open their jaws back up.
Oh,
so maybe Gigan, it's just like he's just in an animal state where he is locked on. No matter what's hitting him.
I was gonna say I have seen plenty of images, videos of crocodiles, alligators. I know there's a difference, but probably both have the same evolutionary problem where they can't open up their mouths. You see like essentially just a rubber band around the end of their snout holding it shut. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
See what you learn when you watch the Zone Fighter commentaries?
Oh, that's what I learned by watching Steve Irwin.
I know, but...
what they learned.
What the audiences learned, yeah.
Sometimes I forget there's other people listening in.
Physiology. There's probably a couple of... There's at least 8 people.
There's at least
Patreon people that paid for this.
There you go.
And the hardcore G fans. Speaking of hardcore G fans, do you think this is a good time to bring up Tokyo 1960?
Probably not. I mean, we got a lot of time.
Okay. Well, you're right. We still have hours of this.
But go ahead.
Yeah. Tokyo 1960.
All right. This is something we didn't know.
Yeah, a friend lent me this. Well, actually gave me these books for my birthday. It's a fan magazine called Monster with an exclamation point. This is issue 6. Monster. Most of the fan... So it's fans take really obscure horror and write articles on them, the vast majority of which I've never heard of. Really, really obscure, I'm sure hard to come by, including here. In the Philippines, in 1957, the director was Teodorico C. Santos, and it is called Tokyo 1960. Joe, what do you immediately get from that poster? Who's in this film?
Hold on, I gotta look at the poster real quick.
Godzilla.
Oh yeah, Godzilla. I mean, is number 1, but then there's some unknown people at the bottom.
Filipino actors. So what the Filipinos did is here's the outline.
All of the Filipinos,
all of the Filipinos.
Filipino.
What the Filipino nation. Well, think about it. If I said Americans, what the Americans did.
Yeah, I guess.
There you go. What the Filipino people did. Their ad line for Tokyo 1960, Tokyo destroyed, towering 400 feet high, a titan of terror on a rampage of destruction. I'm just going to read it. It's not very long. This title's likely pretty common knowledge among hardcore Big G aficionados by now, but I figured there was no harm in me expending a short paragraph about it here. According to someone calling themselves Dr. Kiss in a chat room on the Monster Kids Classic Horror Forum, Youku.com website, a certain reference works has been described this movie, a co-production between the Philippines and Japan, with special effects directed by Eiji Tsuburaya. That hint at what this film might be.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dr. Kiss surmised it more likely merely a recut version. Yeah, what's happening, Joe?
Foaming at the mouth, Gigan.
So Gigan's been killed. Zone Fighter killed him.
And he just
I think
blew
Godzilla
up.
is no longer present, but Zone Fighter escaped and killed Gigan.
That was pretty
The
cool.
only other time I've seen foaming at the mouth was in King Kong Escapes when King Kong breaks the jaws of Gorosaurus.
No, yeah, there was that one. You're right. Then I'm thinking of the nasty, bloody...
the end of... Are you thinking Anguirus? Or?
I'm thinking Mechagodzilla, where he grabs the jaws of the other monster and
Anguirus
and rips him up.
I swear that's like
oatmeal.
identical to how Godzilla killed him in... except Mechagodzilla didn't kill Anguirus, he just harmed him, but Anguirus escaped. Godzilla, however, killed Anguirus in a very similar fashion in Godzilla Raids Again. Anyway, this movie... Okay, Dr. Kiss... I'm talking about Tokyo 1960. Dr. Kiss surmised it is more likely merely a recut version of the original Gojira with added inserted scenes of Filipino actors. So... I was wrong, Joe, in describing this to you. This isn't a recut of the recut, but what the Philippines did, Filipinos, they took Gojira, much as we did with Raymond Burr in Godzilla King of the Monsters. They took Gojira 1954 in Japan and recut it in with Filipino actors.
We need to find that thing.
Tokyo 1960 is the film's name.
Yeah.
Okay, Tokyo 1960... It received its premiere in Manila the day after Boxing Day in 1957. We are finished with episode 12. Do we want to start episode...
we
finished
were
episode
finished
11.
with episode 11. We're going to start episode 12 in 3, 2, 1, go.
No way Godzilla's going to be in this one. We got to wait at least 3 or 4 episodes.
Unfortunately, no.
Something to do with a chicken. Let me finish this and then we'll get into the episode synopsis. Okay, Sirio H. Santiago of Premier Productions had apparently acquired a print of Gojira. As to whether he actually legally licensed the rights for the Philippines or not remains open to debate, but at least one scene of original Japanese footage from the film did later turn up in Santiago-produced giant monster bird movie, Anak Enji Bokan. I think that's it. But
we got to see Tokyo 1960 somehow.
From the Philippines in 1957. I was telling Joe that's about as likely as we're going to see Kozilla, the colorized
one,
1954 Gojira by the Italians. I don't know what year they did that in, but if we could get our hands on watching either of those, that'd be great.
I'm interested in the recut Filipino one the most.
Oh yeah,
because
it'd be interesting to see.
Colorized black and white films are they're just like the same movie, but they're gross looking.
Depending, but yes, for the most part.
Okay. This is episode 12
of Zone Fighter. This one is directed by Ishiro Honda, by the way. The Terror Beast Base Invade the Earth is what it's called. It came out on June 18th, 1973. Ishiro Honda, once again. Special effects director was Kichio Tabuchi. The writer was Norio Komata. The story is livestock facilities are being attacked one by one, animals being stolen by the truckload. Yoko, the little sister of one of Takeru's friends, is working... That's the kid, right? Akira?
Takeru.
No, Akira is Zone Jr.
Okay, then Takeru might be the other dude.
Okay.
That we've been wondering who the hell that guy is.
Oh, yes, the apparent uncle is what we're surmising.
I don't know what the hell. He's like the same age and
as
same
the father.
haircut as Zone Fighter, so I'm confused.
Okay. Oh, you're talking about the
other
friend
guy.
of Hikaru.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, possibly.
I think it might be him, but maybe not. Who knows? We'll find out. Takeru's friends is working as an assistant at her brother's poultry farm. Wow, we're getting into the farm here.
Yeah.
Hikaru and Takeru discover the Garoga during one of their raids and attempt to fight them off. Hotaru, who is with Yoko at the time, receives a distress call from Hikaru and leaves her to join the fight against the Garoga. As the Garoga flee the battle in their car, they press Yoko, who is carrying a crate of chiclets, and abducting her. Oh, this is a cool little scene here.
This is it's a recap of what happened when I believe this one was Dragon King. It's recapping all of the monsters he's destroyed.
They're against like a single studio light, and it looks really cool.
Zone Fighter, right from the get-go of this episode, it shows Zone Fighter again re-destroying every single one of these monsters.
Okay, so while in pursuit of the Garoga, Hotaru discovers a dead chickling on the ground and realizes that Yoko must have been captured by the Garoga. As Hotaru runs off on her own to find Yoko, a plume of smoke rises from the ground, and she awakens to find herself a captive in the Garoga base alongside Yoko. By combining the stolen animals with the geothermal energy they have harnessed from the depths of the earth in their new base, the Garoga are able to create the terror beast Barakidon. Barakidon. Okay. Have fun with that one, Drew. But as the monster is born, its power is so great that the Garoga's base is destroyed in the process. Wow. Taking advantage of the situation, Hotaru transforms into Angel and escapes with Yoko and the others, along with the Garoga blueprints for the Barakidon, from which she discovers the monster's weakness, its reliance on heat. Relaying this information for Hikaru. We'll just wait till winter. We'll destroy him. Angel conceals
he won't destroy anything until then.
Using Smokey as Barakidon, suffering from the cold, is defeated by Zone Fighter. Conceals the moonlight. Is there a whole bunch of heat coming from the moon that I'm unaware of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pseudoscience.
Yep. That's what that sounds like.
Yep. Said so, like, just giving up, defeatedly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Was that the whole synopsis?
Yeah, that's the whole synopsis.
So I immediately, when you mentioned Ishiro Honda directed this, had to look up to see if he's done other ones. Ishiro Honda so far has appeared as director in episode 3, Strike Garoga's Underground Base. That was the one with the... when they went into the other dimension that we were so
was that really
in,
that one?
with those effects? Yeah,
that was cool.
And the other one he has directed before this was the Godzilla's first appearance in the episode 4, Invasion Garoga's Grand Army. Godzilla appears. Ishiro Honda has directed 2 so far. This is his 3rd directorial credit to the Zone Fighter series. Jun Fukuda's done the majority of directing for the episodes before this. There's been like 2 or 3 other directors on like an episode here or there, but it's mostly Jun Fukuda. I always get the comments mixed up about these behind the scenes people, how much they disliked, who disliked it, and how much they disliked the, like, basically what Godzilla got turned into when he became so
they both
playful.
disliked it.
But it kind of surprises me. I wonder how much arm pulling they had to do for Ishiro Honda. I guess it would just be at what point he is in his career and where he's at, like, because it is successful. Godzilla is still successful, no doubt. So Ishiro Honda internally, probably not wanting. I mean, this is me just putting words to Ishiro Honda at the time because I really don't know. Probably not feeling that into Godzilla, and yet here he is.
He felt like he was in a position where he just needed to do his job, as far as I can tell. I know there's a book that's going to come out
later
soon
this year
that's going to talk. It's going to go pretty in depth into Ishiro Honda's career, and I'm excited to read it.
Oh, so am I. He definitely became known for his sci-fi fantasy genre work. Godzilla being the largest contributor to that legacy. But I don't know how much he wanted to be known for that.
I don't think he did. He considers the first Godzilla his best film. I remember reading that in an interview.
Yeah.
But that he didn't like the direction the series took. But, he was in a position, he was a company man, and he was just doing his job. Jun Fukuda was the same way, albeit with less power than Ishiro Honda.
Well, at least...
And when you read his his one interview that,
you
that
said
he
that
had,
on one of our
he
commentaries.
seemed to not like the idea that he did any of the sequels, because he was like, the first one
Sequels to
shouldn't have been
Godzilla's?
touched. That's what he felt.
Well, his
But,
very short. I mean, how reliable Wikipedia is. Jun Fukuda's very short, like what it says about him in Wikipedia, not necessarily a biography, is that he was early on more into like detective. Definitely
did
more
some spy
serious
movies
stuff.
later.
Yeah, well, earlier as well.
Yeah.
He started out doing that as directing, and then just before getting handed the reins to do. We see Garogan's definitely mishandling chickens here. Just before giving the reins to do Godzilla, Abira, Horror of the Deep, Jun Fukuda's first Godzilla movie that he was directing, he had kind of shifted towards comedies. So it's more in line with what Godzilla became, what he was doing prior to entering the Godzilla directing, position he held so long
true.
at the end of the Showa era. So he was headed towards comedies. That's what it.
Jun
seems like.
Fukuda. I mean, you're not going to see it in these TV shows, because TV is just directed really quickly and yada yada.
As you
Directors
said,
don't really have a voice in TV. So we're like, oh, it's directed by Ishiro Honda. And it's like, who cares?
It looks.
Because it
Can anyone tell?
doesn't make a difference. But you can tell with the big movies, you can tell that there's a difference between Jun Fukuda and Ishiro Honda.
There's a big style.
They both
difference,
have distinctive
definitely.
styles. Having watched a huge chunk of both of their films as we've done this.
It seems like, and especially because we just watched Terror of Mechagodzilla, we won't give away too much because we got to do a commentary on it and save some stuff for that. But it seems like, in spite of, okay, this is a slightly complicated thought. Say you took Ishiro Honda directing a serious Godzilla film, and then you take Ishiro Honda directing a not serious Godzilla film, you can still tell this is Ishiro Honda. Then you take Jun Fukuda directing a more serious Godzilla film and Jun Fukuda directing a less serious Godzilla film. It's both feel like Jun Fukuda. As you said, there's definitely a noticeable style difference. TV, it's impossible to tell.
I might have to get the soundtrack for this show, Drew.
I really like the songs.
It's like pretty sweet. It's really brassy and like, it's just great.
In spite of so many animes having, it comes from Japan. These animated Japanese cartoons, whatever genre they may fall under, and these live action, you can't understand the lyrics, but you get so pumped up by them because it's this chanting, cheering, boisterous, joyous, pump up music. So even Joe, not a huge fan of this, and not a huge. Doesn't know a lot about it or has a history with it. Joe likes them, so that is
It could be just the liking of repetition. It's like the
I was going to say, are we getting Stockholm syndrome here somewhat?
Maybe.
I don't know if it's
I was about to say familiarity
Stockholm
breeds
syndrome.
contempt, but there is like an amount of familiarity where
breeds
like
liking.
Sure. Okay, so I worked at a Boy Scout camp, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And there were like a select few female staff members.
That is that psychological principle is familiarity breeds liking. That's why people like their coworkers.
So now
that's why people, actors and actresses, end up getting together.
Despite maybe the best looking one being a 7, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying, Joe. That's what
all of a sudden they all like boost in their numbers because
you see them over and over.
You just see the same people over and over again, and you don't see anything else. So we've watched Ultraman for 2 days in a row, and we're approaching the 5-hour mark. And and now it's like, yeah, hell yeah, this
Zone double time. It seems like
this episode is ridiculous, though.
Does that make all Joe?
There's a lot of chickens in this.
This is a real issue here. Does that make all reviews of television series inherently flawed if you end up viewing the entire series? Because by the end, you've just become so familiar with it. It's like it's comforting, the series, of whether it's quality or not. And conversely, when you're reviewing movies, the amount of time you spend with it is relatively short, so you can give it like a fair and honest review, not subconsciously.
I don't know.
Tempted
frankly.
to be untrue psychological principles.
There's a lot of color.
They have
and a lot of chickens in this episode. Did we mention how much chicken there was in this episode, Drew?
Chicken, not chica.
Chickens.
There's a really great monster early on in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that's just a chicken.
Is it Gigan?
No, it's like it is a chicken. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
But
well, so far we've seen Garoga working at the farm, and one Garoga especially like picking up the chickens and like checking the chickens. So that happened earlier on this episode.
Yes.
We saw some, like, before we go into this little fight here that they're doing, we saw some chickens flying in the air.
Yep.
Just because.
A lot of foul play, Joe.
Oh! Anyway, that's what we've seen.
Some foul humor as well.
I don't know. I think the show might be jumping the shark today. I guess I would have to be a Japanese
episode.
I would have to be a Japanese audience member, but I think the farm episode is a bit much, you know.
Well, we have had a zoo episode. Basically, it's like what premises can we get? Premises for episodes can we fulfill on the cheap? Oh man, in discussing that with my girlfriend yesterday, the episode with Garoga Gorilla where they visit the zoo, the whole premise being that the Garogan red spider, if it bit any of the animals, they'd turn into a Taro beast. They'd turn giant and become something that Zone Fighter would have to take care of. Otherwise, the Earth, or at least Japan, is destroyed. All right. Man, it's almost becomes insulting a little bit because it's so paper thin apparent that Toho just wants to make a buck. I mean,
what?
That's what the whole thing is. Because when you slap together, when you slap together certain premises, there's an amount of like creativity and originality to it. But when it's like, let's send them to a zoo and the animals will just become giant beasts. At least they changed the way that Garoga Gorilla looked when he became huge. He was fairly monstrous with like muscles bulging out and the tusks on his lower jaw and looking all deformed. So they put effort in there, but man, just some episodes you have to feel that it's a little bit of it's insulting to fans where you're like, really?
But there were no fans for this show, so
a Toho period. But yes, that's true. I don't know. This is still early on in the series. Who knows if its ratings slumped, but
so I'm trying to find.
I don't know how Japanese television works.
What like the first show like this was. Tokusatsu just means like a big sci-fi thing,
special effects heavy,
big special effects heavy thing. So it's not necessarily this exact
form. That's
formula.
Why there are subgenres. This is the Henshin Hero.
Henshin Hero, is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, genre. I'm glad you know that because now I can look that up. I want to see.
That would be Ultraman.
I want to see what the
Fighter,
first one was, whether it was Ultra Q or not. I want to see like how things kind of developed. You know, the fighting sometimes isn't too bad in this show.
No.
Chunky Jeez, what is that?
That is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers villain, Chunky Chicken. I told you he's a chicken.
That looks like Caleb Craig.
Oh, man.
Deep joke. Deep joke.
Deep joke? You have
I mean, I have a different listener base for this show than I do for my others. In general.
This is the first Garogan that I've seen with a different colored face. He's entirely red. I think that as the series progresses, as Zone Fighter, Zone Angel, and Zone Junior, they acquire new powers in addition to developing as characters. But then I think the Garogans are going to spring on us some new gadgetry. The Garogans are going to get more powerful. They certainly have started using their antenna a lot. The thing is, they pull off the antennas on their head, which you would think was part of their biological like makeup. Apparently not, because they can pull them off and they extend to whips, with which they usually try to choke out the Zone family. It's kind of creepy. There's definitely some fetishism that can come through this. Just saying.
Oh, it already has.
Rule, what's the 4chan rule? It's like 34,
it's
36.
Rule number 34 of the internet. How do I know that?
Everybody knows that.
I don't even go that deep into the internet.
I don't either. I have a friend who just don't look up that rule, but if something can be made into porn, it is.
Yeah.
It
if it
exists.
exists, there's
There
a porn
is porn
out of it. Yeah. That's the internet
You're
rule number
welcome
34.
to.
I
people
do
listening
wonder
to
what
this
the
who
other
didn't know
rules
that.
are.
That's true. I've never. There's no more infamous rule than that. That's for sure. We get another monster that in the makeup of the monster, the head of the beast is on its chest. These tarot beasts. I wonder if it's just that much easier for the suit actor to be in what's essentially the hump on the back of the monster. That's where the actor's head is. Because we'll have to get into it in researching Titanosaurus for Terror of Mechagodzilla. But you mentioned, Joe, how long Titanosaurus's neck is, and it makes him that much taller. So it has to be balanced on top of the suit actor's head.
Right.
And, like, how would that be for trying to balance as a suit actor? I think that's perhaps why, because for near the end of the Terror of Mechagodzilla, we see kind of an extensive shot, a held out shot, not a long shot, held out shot on Titanosaurus when he's standing there, and he's got his hands behind his back,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, why is he like holding his hands all gentleman-like? Perhaps that helped the suit actor balance.
He's like waiting. I thought
yeah.
it was like,
He's just kindly waiting,
Yeah.
you know.
hands behind his
very
back.
politely.
That's right.
Titanosaurus is a polite kaiju.
He is. He is, really.
I like when Zone Angel fights. Speaking of familiarity breeds liking, man. I'm falling for Zone Angel. You can keep Zone Fighter.
I don't know
when
if
we're
I'm
done.
falling for her.
I don't know if I have a.
I don't
Okay.
like her in her suit. I think her suit looks ridiculous.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite version of Zone Angel is when she's morphed.
Oh, really? That
War
is
Zone.
so interesting.
Yeah.
It seems like for those henshin things, it looks like Ultra Q was the first one.
So it was before Ultraman. It was
Kamen
Ultra Q.
Rider, I guess, or is a show that came out
Was that
where they would,
Tsuburaya Productions?
where they would actually say henshin when they transformed.
No, so perhaps.
So it comes from that show, which is a later show. That
Oh, it
one
is?
comes
Okay.
from the 70s.
I know very little
it's a
about
trope.
Kamen Rider, but watching Super Sentai, I can imagine they came out at around the same time, because the little I know about Kamen Rider, the very first series of Super Sentai seemed heavily Kamen Rider influenced. Like, this is me just reading into it, not knowing much about Kamen Rider, but it seems like it's kind of special agent. It's almost like a more sci-fi Bond. I'm not kidding, because like he has these gadgets built into his suit. I don't know if he's robotic, but it's really interesting. A lot of people I follow on Twitter are way more into Kamen Rider and Ultraman and all that stuff than me, but they post a lot of stuff, and man, is it
I
interesting.
can't
looking.
believe how similar Zone Fighter looks to Ultraman. Looking at a picture
it
of
blows my
Ultraman,
mind too how they got away
it
with
like,
that.
well, I mean, it's the same production company, so they can get away with
So
it
this
just
is
fine.
then this is Tsuburaya Productions.
Yeah, this is all Super Riot Productions.
Oh, okay, I wasn't aware because we were wondering our last sit down watching
Yeah.
these whether or not Zone Fighter was also Tsuburaya Productions.
So it's Super
It
Riot
is,
Productions.
okay.
They made Ultra Q, which, according to my very short research, seems to be the first, if not the first one, then the first major one of these type of shows. It had 28 episodes. They ran for about 24 minutes from January 2nd to July 3rd of 1966. So it came out about 4 years before the Kamen Rider.
Okay.
Let's see. It kind of it started in black and white. It said was
Wait,
put out on TBS.
Ultra Q started out in?
Tokyo Broadcast System.
Wait, what started in black and white?
Ultra Q.
Ultra Q, okay.
Yeah, and it was the series was followed 2 weeks later by the more popular Ultraman. They're both part of the Ultra series. It looks like.
Well, like I was saying, I'm pretty sure it is the Ultraman that is $8 for the series on Amazon.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's I'm so tempted so many times. To
Ultra
just
Q
purchase
can be
that.
described as a half-hour Toho Kaiju series.
Uh-huh.
Produced by Eiji Tsuburaya, who intended the series to be more like the Twilight Zone and Outer Limits, featuring all kind of strange and unusual stories. But after a survey, the TBS network convinced Tsuburaya Productions to add more giant monsters.
Which is all that it becomes. I mean, an episode of Zone Fighter without a giant monster and Zone Fighter morphing into his giant form to fight him, it's not a Zone Fighter episode if you don't fulfill those two requirements.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, Joe, no. I just saw it. Look, there's like, okay, we'll have to see it the next time, but when Zone Fighter uses his meteor missiles, which are his like wrist rockets,
disgusting.
Okay, he had these, like we surmised before, perhaps that it was the actor putting his hand into some sort of a gadget that had like fake hands. No, it was very clear that the fingers of the hands were like a different texture. They were like black. So something to prevent like fire retardant essentially. And then upon like his lower hand is just below the fingers, there was kind of a metal guard. So, like, yes, every episode, this is how he usually finishes off a monster, is with his wrist rocket meteor missiles. And that's how Joe immediately was like, wow, the suit actor must get his hands burned up constantly.
Right. Yeah,
that's how they prevented it. They had plenty of guards in place.
Wow.
Because Zone Fighter himself, in the context of the show, he obviously wouldn't be hurt by his own, meteor missiles. But the suit actor on the other hand, it's quite a dangerous stunt to perform every episode. I'm surprised. I can't tell that they reuse it. It seems, I mean, the monster's not in the shot, but you would think that to save on production, they just reuse the same series of the same short sequence of Zone Fighter acquiring his meteor missiles that he doesn't always have on his wrists, firing them at the monster, and then doing his like victory pose. But in every single episode, it seems different. So they're doing it over and over and over. I guess Roman candles aren't that expensive to put in your like wrist launchers.
I guess not. All right, so that was episode 12.
Yep.
We're gonna start episode 13.
Sorry, I haven't been giving the play-by-play on these monsters, but I'm still looking for somewhere where we can get a reliable source for the description of these monsters. Wait.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Okay,
I'm going to start episode 13 in 3, 2, 1, go.
Sorry if we didn't do that for the last two, but
okay. Birthday cake. All right.
Oh, we get a birthday episode. They are a family, so you got to show some of the family life. My
assumption is that it's a birthday cake, but it could just be a cake with candles on it.
I'm immediately seeing more. Often Zone Fighter, Zone Angel, and Zone Junior are split up during the fighting. I mean, it's obvious when Zone Fighter is, because he's the only one that can morph, like become giant sized. But on the ground, a lot of episodes either unmorphed into their suits or looking like the Zone Fighters in their get up. They're pretty often separated. There's not like all three of them fighting at once too often, and we saw that in the opening, like the spoilers for the episode bumper.
Hey, you know what? I think I've got a piece of history wrong about the show.
Zone Fighter?
Yeah. I don't think it was made by Tsuburaya at all.
Okay.
I think Tsuburaya went off and made his own company.
That's what he definitely did in 63.
Toho kept the rights to all their characters and then made a rival show. And this was the idea.
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay.
I knew it was something with Toho. I knew that Tsuburaya went off on his own to do Tsuburaya Productions. And in any case, I don't know if there were other ones surrounding this.
Tsuburaya was not connected to Toho whatsoever at this point. It looks like he made off and made a big bang with the Ultra series, and then another company made Kamen Rider and Android Kikyuu-e, which is an interesting name.
So far we know of at least 3 rivals, all producing extremely similar shows.
And then Toho made Rainbow Man, which was successful. And then decided to make this series.
Okay, so that's we mentioned briefly yesterday. Well, for us, in part 1 or 2.
Yeah, part 2.
I believe it was part 2 there was a Toho-based Henshin Hero series prior to this. So that was Rainbow Man?
It must have been Rainbow Man.
Okay.
So this is actually competition against Tsuburaya.
Same with Kamen Rider.
Which is interesting. I mean, all the special effects directors was like, it's mostly Nakano.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is Tsuburaya was the go-to guy for Godzilla special effects, broke off and did Super Aya Productions. If he founded it in 1963, he wasn't around too long to be involved with Super Aya Productions because he died in 1970. But then Nakano kind of filled his spot, and
in the movies,
and then also in these rival TV shows.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So he was more loyal.
Yeah. So it was Rainbow Man, and they were actually like trying to make their own show. That was.
I have to look up at least an image for Rainbow Man. I think I've read the name.
I think you might find a few different images if you look for Rainbow Man.
Rainbow Man Toho. How
there
about that? It's hard enough finding things out about Zone Fighter. I just Googled Zone Angel. Nothing. Like, you have to be so specific.
You gotta be so deep.
Anytime I look up a monster name, because that's about how that's the most effective way I've found to look up anything about these monsters is you Google Zone Fighter and then the monster name. If you just Google the monster name, you're not going to find anything.
All right. So this is episode 13, right?
Wow. Okay. So this was successful, Joe. The direct transliteration of the Rainbow Man title from Japanese is, get prepared. Are you seated?
I am seated.
You ready for this?
I'm so seated.
Warrior of Love, Rainbow Man. And that one was successful. Whoa, it had a total of 52 episodes.
That's
a manga
pretty good.
Based on the show. Yeah, that's double.
That's pretty good for all these old shows, what I'm seeing when we're looking through these.
Nearly double this.
And the super popular Ultraman, I think, only had like 30-something.
The Garogan General is contacting the Zone family through their television.
Is he gonna do it?
Threatening them.
I'm just wondering, well, how come the Garogan speak Japanese?
It's just like so
I always
often.
do the same crap when we go in any sci-fi movie, including in our native English tongue. I'm like, how come everybody speaks the same language? This makes no sense.
You mentioned earlier today Men in Black, because they give a reasoning behind why everybody can understand things. Don't they have something they...
Oh, there's a gadget in the thing, but that's not like they don't use it all the time. In fact, in Men in Black...
Basically a translate every language.
Most of the creatures have a different language.
That's true.
But I watched Guardians of the Galaxy for a second time the other week.
The first one? Do they have that little...
To gear up for the new one. And well, maybe I missed it, but there's an
organism. I swear there's an organism they stick in their ear or something.
Is that what happens?
I'm pretty sure it's like a biological thing, but
I'll have to look into it then.
Should I read the synopsis for this episode?
I can read it if you want.
Go for it.
Hair Raising, The Birthday of Terror.
Episode 13. Yeah. How rude of the Garogan General. He appeared on the Zone family's television threatening them during Zone Angel Hotaru's birthday party.
Came out June 25th, 1973. Directed by Ishiro Honda.
Ooh, the fourth Ishiro Honda directed episode.
Yep. Director of special effects was Kichio Tabuchi, and the writer was Jun Fukuda.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. The credited writer.
It seems as if he's done his share of writing. The last few Godzilla episodes we've done commentaries on, he's credited as a writer.
Yeah, he's credited as the guy who fixes other people's scripts.
Yeah, also the director.
The Sakamori family gathered to celebrate Hotaru's 16th birthday. Ooh, she's 16. Drew?
What about the actress? What about the actress?
Don't know.
That's what I'm trying to look at.
We'll find out later. When suddenly the gold Garoga appears on the television screen, declaring the family will be destroyed once and for all before the day is out. Wow. Although protected by the proton barrier, they suspect the Garoga may have already infiltrated the house, and Hotaru suspects that there might be something hidden inside the birthday cake. After Yoichiro scans the cake, confirmed there is an explosive inside. Hitaru drives off alone to dispose of the cake at a safe location.
Some high stakes here. I know it might be a bomb, but that just seems so dumb.
We gotta dispose
running away
of
with a
cake. After their failed attempt to assassinate the family with the cake, the Garoga manipulate.
Wait, say that one more time. After their
failed attempt to assassinate the family with the cake.
With a cake.
Yep.
Assassinate them.
The Garoga manipulate the patisserie assistant Hisashi via telepathy in order to kidnap Takeru and Hotaru. Dare you to freaking read that sentence out loud without messing up. However, Junior is able to pursue their car using Smokey. Junior relays the location of the Garoga hideout to Hikaru, and the two are successful in saving Hotaru and the others and driving away their captors. In a last-ditch attempt, the Garoga launch a Terror Beast missile, unleashing the mighty Garaborg. Transforming into his giant form, Zone Fighter confronts the monster, but its powerful electrical charges prove to be a tough challenge. However, after destroying the source of the electrical charge, Zone Fighter and Smokey's combined attack is able to defeat the monster. That looks like they win at the end of the day. Way to go, guys.
Joe, if you search in Amazon either Zone Fighter, nothing that actually has to do with the Zone Fighter. I was scrolling down and found absolutely nothing. When you Google, well, I keep saying Google because that's the catch-all term for to search engine something. When you type into Amazon Rainbow Man, I get the first thing that comes up several search items down is a audio CD from I'm guessing it's the themes from the Rainbow Man show. It says Rainbow Man was successful enough in its overview that it was adapted into a manga, and I'm getting several issues of the hardcover issues of the Rainbow Man manga in Japanese, so it doesn't look like it's been translated. It says Japanese import. But, I just reading the overview of Rainbow Man, I feel why are we watching Zone Fighter? It's only because Godzilla's in it.
Godzilla's in it, man. That's why. It's canon, like you said, even though it's totally not canon. Because there is no canon in the Showa era. In fact, there's so little canon that I'm pretty sure Godzilla 1985 is just a direct sequel to the first one. And they just skip everything in the Showa era.
You're right, it is. I mean, that's... At least as the premise for the movie itself, that's what it is. A direct... So it's directly after Godzilla 1954, right? Yeah,
I believe so. That's its...
I'm going to look up stuff on Godzilla Island real quick, but just reading the Wikipedia overview of Rainbow Man sounds so much more interesting than Zone Fighter.
So the actress who plays Zone Angel...
Okay, thank you, because I was trying to look up anything on her. I can't find
her name is Kazumi Kitahara, and there is no information on her. There's another girl with the same name on Facebook, though. Seems like...
Kazumi Kitahara?
Yeah, Kazumi Kitahara.
Please, our Japanese-speaking listeners, look up on the Japanese internet anything with Kazumi Kitahara.
Yeah, the Japanese internet will probably have a lot more information. In fact, maybe I should try to...
In IMDb, Kazumi Kitahara is known for, it says she's known for Zone Fighter. That's all you get in her IMDb.
That's too bad. Oh, there's some more information on... in a different language.
I was going to say the Indonesian Wikipedia.
You're seeing the same one?
Yeah, I'm trying to look up anything.
I love podcasts where you hear people internet searching. Those are the best ones. Those are my favorite.
Ones where we came well prepared. No, it's just that we're trying. We're reaching for something here because
they have way more information on the Indonesian one. What the hell? What is up with that?
They must. Zone Fighter was probably pretty popular there. You never know.
Indonesian encyclopedia. Okay, I'm gonna search using
Godzilla
her
Island
name.
I've heard of Godzilla Island. I'm wondering which...
Godzilla Island?
I'm wondering if... I'm trying to figure out what series is the Godzilla series where they're little chibi, cutesy animated versions of the monsters.
I don't even want to know.
Yeah, they're cute, man. I like them. They were shorts that played very...
so she seemed to be in a few things. Shorts. I mean, I'm seeing a list here with dates.
You're
in
looking at the Indonesian Wikipedia?
No, I'm looking at Japanese Wikipedia.
Holy cow, man. We had better... No.
What?
Please don't make us watch Godzilla Island.
That is one of our Patreon goals.
Look at the number of episodes. Those had better be 5 minutes or less each.
We're not doing that.
There are 200... No, they're 3 minutes each, though.
They're 3 minutes each?
Yep. Godzilla Island, it has to be. That's the cutesy animated version of Godzilla. There are 256 3-minute episodes of Godzilla Island. So, I mean...
Murder me. Still. That's 600 minutes. It's more than 600 minutes.
I'm doing these calculations. Joe, what have you seen in the episode so far? It's been kind of disjointed, this episode. In any case, Zone Angel is having a terrible birthday. She's been captured, been held at gunpoint for most of the episode. 256 times 3 minutes equals 768. Divide that by 60 equals... No. There's no way. It's not 12 hours and 8 minutes.
12 hours worth of
3-minute shorts.
Okay, I'm
going to do this one more time. You correct me if I'm wrong. 256 episodes.
Times 3.
Times 3 minutes. So that's 768. So you take...
Divided by 60.
768. You divide it by 60. It's 12 hours and 8 minutes.
Oh! We're not doing that.
We can't. We're not. 12 hours of 3-minute shorts. I don't think it would be possible to... Okay, I'm going to look up to see if we can get Godzilla Island even.
Yeah.
This should all be behind the scenes, us looking this up.
Yeah.
But it's blowing...
Okay, so this girl.
Yeah, okay.
Kazumi Kitahara. All right, so I actually have a list here of Google translated list of her credits. Her first thing that she was in was something called Three Samurai.
Okay.
Which is like episode 24. That was in 1969. Judo Straight Line. Remember, these are Google translated, so who knows what these shows are actually called.
Okay.
That was also in 1969. Toshiba Sunday Theater, 24 Years Old, Part 6. I don't know what the hell that means. That one's 1969. Thank You for a Story in 1970. I Am a Transparent Person, 1971. Criminal Coon, 1971. Onihei Odori book, second series, 17th episode, Dr. Doctor. That was an episode of that show. She played Chrysanthemum in 1972.
Okay.
Superman Barome. Great. There's just a show called Great. At least that's the translation.
Yeah.
1973. Metroid Human Zone, 1973 as well. Which might be this.
I don't know, Joe. We might be able to do Godzilla Island.
Yeah,
I'm
Metroid
looking at it
Zone.
like it's 22 full-length episodes, so that's less than this. Here we are. I'm on Sumo Gorilla.
What? What is this piracy site you're talking about?
Godzilla. SumoGorilla.com tagline. Rare
you
movies
sell
on
pirated
DVD.
movies.
If you ever look into their terms and conditions, Joe and I have read it extensively.
Don't tell anybody about this site. It's like Fight Club.
That's why we promote it so heavily.
No, that's why we're talking about it.
Godzilla Island was a television show spinoff of the Godzilla franchise. It premiered on October 6, 1997. 1997? Wow, this was in the 90s. It was like 30 years. No, 20 years, 25 years, 24. Wow, 24 years after Zone Fighter is when Godzilla Island happened. So Toho took a long break from making television productions, and it ran for a total of 256 3-minute episodes, finishing on September 30th, 1998. Set in 2097, most monsters live on an island out in the Pacific Ocean. The creatures living on the island include, which is one reason why I would think Godzilla Island would be a perfect series for us to cover. It includes Godzilla, Godzilla Jr., Mothra, Batra, Rodan, King Ghidorah, Mecha King Ghidorah, Mecha Godzilla, Anguirus, Gigan, Hedorah, Space Godzilla, Destroya, Baragon, King Caesar, Mogira, Megalon, Gorosaurus, Kamacuras, Jet Jaguar, and Dogora. And an unusually large number of tie-in toys were produced for this series by Bandai Toys because, here's the kicker, Joe, I was wrong about it being a cartoon. This series was, in fact, created through the use of action figures.
Okay.
So these 3-minute shorts would compose an entire episode, but they'd be shown off. I don't know. They would have had to have been between other television shows, but it would take weeks for a whole story arc to complete. So a real episode 1 is the whole episode is made up of shorts that aired over the course of say a month and a half or 2.
Okay, so we could just do one section of them.
Yeah, well, they have it in that format because unlike Zone Fighter is 6 discs, Godzilla Island is 4.
Oh, okay. So
that's more manageable. That's if we ever actually get to the thing, but
yeah.
A CD of theme music, mostly composed by Akira Ifukube, was released in 1997 by Polygram entitled Welcome to Godzilla Island. However, most of the music was provided by U2 guitarist The Edge, so composed by Ifukube, actually done by The Edge of U2.
What is this?
This is all sorts of mishmash, hodgepodge put together, and it's all under the hood of Godzilla, so perfect for this. And in 2007, a 4-disc DVD, including every episode of the show, was released in Japan for about $160 in comparison, the conversion rate. Godzilla Island consists of, again, 256 episodes, each of which is 3 minutes long. The episodes make up 22 complete stories of varying lengths. One is only 3 episodes long, while the final arc is 23 episodes, so stories can take anywhere between a half a week and 3 weeks to fully air. So never quite that long, but several weeks to complete the story.
All right, this monster is just a bug, basically.
Yeah, it's devolved. The monsters have devolved into just insects. Not the most clever insects we're now talking about, the episode we're watching.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the name of the monster here, Joe? Episode
I don't remember.
13?
It was something ridiculous.
They actually took time to change up the
square
suit.
feet, though. It's bizarre.
He's exactly half robot, and he has a giant bug head with tubes running from the robot part of his body up to... His head reminds me of the Fly.
He reminds me of a Fly.
Well, I'm talking about the
I've
Fly.
never seen the Fly.
Seen the original, but it's been a long time.
Wait, the original or the remake with Jeff Goldblum?
The original. So black and white. I don't know what
you've
year
seen the... Okay, you have seen the original then.
Yeah. So we're on episode 13, The Birthday of Terror.
Yep.
That doesn't fly outside the U.S.
Birthday of Terror.
Hair raising, The Birthday of Terror. This episode is entitled. The Garoga,
that is a big stick.
Garoborg. Wow.
Ultraman picks up a stick off the ground, but he's the mega size, and it's just a stick.
Vigorously thrusting this stick underneath his armpit.
Yeah, I guess it's a tree, but it just looks like a stick.
I'm really confused at the fighting here. Godzilla. I wish we were watching Godzilla. Ultraman he uprooted a huge tree, and it sped up the animation where he had it underneath his armpit and just was rubbing it back and forth underneath his armpit. It points it at the monster like it's a sword when it's just
then it's like a laser blast from it.
Yeah, it sparks. And then
that's how that works.
He hit the cyborg insect with it, and it blew off his antenna and claw. Friction, wood is not generally a good conductor. Just saying, for electricity.
Generally, yeah. I was always jealous working at that same scout camp that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, okay.
I was always jealous. There was I was the director of Scoutcraft. I worked my way up there through a few summers.
Oh.
And Scoutcraft took care of basically all the outdoor skills stuff for scouts.
Scoutcraft?
Scoutcraft, yeah, that's what the area was called.
Okay.
So we had people doing their tenderfoot and first class advancements, which Eagle is the end of that, by the way. There's different awards that the scouts give out based on how many merit badges they have, and then all these other skills that they have to show to their scoutmaster.
Boy Scouts of America stuff.
So we took care of like the low level stuff there, and then we also had the pioneering Indian lore, wilderness survival. And
how many words can you cram into that? Are those all
orienteering?
Okay, yes.
So they're all outdoor stuff. They're all very macho-y type of stuff. Like, ooh, let's tie things with knots. Things like that. Like we made it.
Get nutty.
We made like using Boy Scout knots. We had everybody like build on this giant fort that we would make throughout the whole summer using these big, huge pioneering logs.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty sweet.
And just hope that the boys tie the proper logs so no one gets harmed.
With the wilderness survival
course.
merit badge, which I taught, you're supposed to create like fire 3 different ways.
Okay.
So you could create it with like a lighter with a match, or you can do like the battery against the piece of fine steel wool, which by the way you can totally do if you have a flashlight with like a regular battery in it. Or it's a regular flashlight. Most people get those LED things now, unfortunately. So that's not going to help you as much in a survival situation.
Okay.
But you can take like a fine piece of steel wool and just have that on your person. You can make a fire using that. I also did Flint and Steel, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, that's one I'm most familiar with for fire starting. You want flint and steel.
You get a piece of flint and you get steel. Try to look around.
Is that not like 100 times easier than using a stick and doing the whole friction?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness!
So
I've never been able to start a fire with.
We saw Ultraman doing this thing where he was so fast, despite him being like 1,200 feet tall. He takes this stick and he just rubs it in his armpit. I don't know why his armpit. He could have rubbed it in his crotch for all we care.
Yeah, because
he rubbed it in his armpit super fast, and suddenly it was like heated up so much that he could like press a stick button, and the stick could shoot lasers. But it just reminded me about how jealous I was. We had one guy in camp. Oh, we had 2 guys in camp who could actually do the fire.
I was going to say,
I've seen bow drill.
One time I've seen many scouts and scout leaders attempt it, and I've only seen like at least one do it.
I've seen my dad's done it. So I've seen 4 people in my life who have done it. And it's all through scouting. And so all these crazy people that have actually figured out how to do this crap. Anyway, we did finish
episode
13. We're going to go episode 14 in 3, 2, 1, go.
I was really wondering where you were going with the scouting thing, but that makes a lot of sense.
So I've seen 4 people do that. I've been super jealous. I have tried it myself for hours, and I've gotten close, dude. I've gotten sparks, so I know that like if things get hellish and I have nothing to do but use a bow drill and a piece of rope, I can eventually start a fire, but it's not realistic.
I think it would end in frustration for me, but yeah, you want to bring flint and steel. Do you want to yell the command, Joe?
No, just leave it alone. It'll eventually stop.
All right.
Yeah, the PlayStation 4, which is what we're watching this on. Caleb, we're also like snuck into Caleb's house and we're watching this, but
with his express permission.
Yeah, I said, "Can I come in during the day?" He said, "Yeah." I haven't told him that I'm coming in today.
Oh, you didn't?
No, so it'll be a surprise if he comes in. But I have a key to his house. I mean, he trusts me enough for that, right? Not that he's ever asked for it back.
Or that you would offer it back.
Or that I would offer it back. What were we saying? You were going to say something.
You missed it because you were talking about Boy Scouts, but a wonderful tie-in here. The spoiler bumper for the front bumper for this episode, which it showed some mind-controlled children, young boys around Akira's age, Zone Jr.
Oh, God.
Who were, one can only assume, mind-controlled by the Garogans, because they're always behind these horrible plots. And they looked pretty freaky. They were like destroying a shop. They look like they're mind controlled and evil. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the episode name. Can I do the synopsis? Because
you most certainly can.
I'm really interested in this episode.
Not going to stop you.
That premise is a good one.
They've slightly
14.
changed the opening title sequence, by the way.
Yeah, that usually happens in series midway through the production of the series. Episode 14, Rampage. The Garoga Boys Attack Force. You hear what I just said? The Garoga Boys Attack Force.
Wait, is it the Garoga Boys Attack Force or the Garoga Boys Attack Force? Like, there's a different emphasis there.
There's
nothing.
It's just straight on. There's no commas, no periods. The Garoga Boys Attack Force, as I just said. Okay. Director Akiyasu Kikuchi. I think he's done at least one of these episodes so far. That last name sounds familiar. Director of Special Effects Koichi Kawakita. Writer Masaru Takaseyu. Takaseyu. Story: Akira's friend Tsuyoshi is struggling.
It's too hard. I give up.
Akira's friend Tsuyoshi is struggling to keep his grades up at school and is always being bullied by the other children. After school one day, Tsuyoshi sees two men drinking a strange medicine which gives them super strength. Tsuyoshi approaches the two men, who explain the medicine makes them smarter as well as stronger, and kindly gives Tsuyoshi several bottles. Children, don't take things from strangers. Drinking the medicine that night, Tsuyoshi amazes his teacher the next day by answering all the questions correctly. He's taking enhancement drugs. During the recess, Tsuyoshi is able to take down a whole gang of bullies by himself. Reconciling with the bullies, Tsuyoshi offers them and Akira bottles of the medicine each. Akira takes the medicine back home and informs the Zone family of what happened. They test the medicine on the family's pet bird, which suddenly becomes violent and chirps the name Garoga as the family hurriedly begins working on an antidote. This is just getting so far-fetched.
On a bird?
The Garoga activate the true effects of the medicine, manipulating the children into becoming an attack force. The Garoga are using a child attack force in this episode. Following the command of the Gold Garoga, that's the Emperor Garoga, the one with a cape, the children begin rioting around the town. Takeru phones Akira after discovering the boys on the Rampage, who arrives to help him reason with the children, but both find themselves taken hostage. After completing the antidote by children, they're taken hostage by like super children. After completing the antidote, Hotaru transforms into Angel and takes.
I'm sorry, what does she taste?
Takes Smokey to join Zone Fighter, who is currently engaged in battle with the Garoga. In the Garoga hideout, the manipulated children transform into two adult Garoga. What? The manipulated children turn into two adult Garoga in order to kill Akira. Are they going to actually save these children?
I don't know.
But Zone and Angel arrive in time to stop them. Using the antidote on the Garoga, they transform back into children.
Why did the Garoga even make an antidote? Like,
I think
these are the stupidest bad guys, Drew.
This is the last sentence. As the remaining Garoga transform into the terror beast Detragon, that's kind of a cool name, Zone Fighter changes into his giant form to finish the battle. I believe it's the Zone family that concocts the formula, the antidote.
Okay, that makes sense.
What I'm seeing more and more of for the formation of these monsters is that they're just Garogans that combine to form these monsters. Earlier on, the Garogans set down like pods that the monsters would come out of, but now the Garogans themselves are like forming together to make giant beasts.
Would you ever test medicine on an animal?
Even as a child?
Not a professional tester, of course. Like, just as a person, would you ever like just test it on a bird?
Okay, those rocks, no, I would not. The rocks and everything they just broke were very obviously styrofoam. We're viewing. I'm fully invested in this episode, to be honest. Episode 14, the first episode that's captured my attention entirely. The two men that are near the playground where this first boy, he's interested in them because they take the medicine and he watches them like karate chop a stone bench in half and then take a rock and just break it over their knee. Not only were they obviously styrofoam just by the looks of them, but also the sound effect they used was like a dunk, not even like a it was a tuk.
Well, rocks don't even make that much of a sound when you break them. It's just kind of a snap.
It's not, there isn't, but it's TV and movies. You gotta like overemphasize
amp it up.
Exactly.
Like the
yeah. I haven't noticed yet, Joe, but in like 70s action like movies, I don't know about television shows, every time somebody's moving around, their fists or their feet, there's like a whoosh, 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 whoosh.
It depends on the genre. There's other movies that are older that they'll have an action scene and someone will punch someone and it'll be all too realistic of a sound.
Oh.
So there won't be that much sound and it won't be that interesting to watch either because of it.
Especially if they don't do any sort of like music during the fight scene. It makes action scenes feel awkward.
But like those Bruce Lee movies, the sound is way over the top. Including him, by the way, who's like, whoa!
Oh, yeah.
How many Bruce Lee movies have you seen by any chance? Any?
One. I rented one from Hollywood.
Do you know what it was?
I don't. I remember the premise where he saved some girl from like a factory. He came back to like his hometown and there was this factory that people were working at, but it turns out
the big boss.
Yep, that's
that
the
one's
one.
Sweet. He like gets kicked in the face. My favorite Bruce Lee moment of all time. I think he gets punched or kicked in the face by another guy who's like bullying him, and all he does is like just kind of stand his ground, and he looks at the guy and gives him the stink eye, and there's the best zoom. And once again, I love zooms. I don't give a shit. I love zooms. The best zoom of all time is in that movie.
They make good use of the zoom in Bruce Lee movies.
They do.
In the kung fu films of that era.
That one's like a good fun one. His best movie is Enter the Dragon.
Is that the Chuck Norris?
That one, honestly, the Chuck Norris one,
not that
the good part of the movie is the Chuck Norris fight.
Is Enter the Dragon the one that they had to piece together? I know they had to piece together one.
That one's awful, though.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That one has dragon in the title, but it's not Enter the Dragon. I'll get back to you on that one.
Hey, we got another chicken in this episode. Oh, that's them feeding the bird. They fed the bird the medicine, and now the bird's flying around the room. The bird, like, cracked the wall, cracked the aquarium.
So the bird flew around like a freak. He hit the side of a fish tank, and it freaking, like, busted it. And then the bird lands, and he's kind of fine.
To our faithful listeners, if you are going to watch a Zone Fighter episode, look one up online somehow and view it. So far, I'm saying look at episode 14.
I would just say look at the Godzilla ones, but
but like Godzilla's not even heavily in those episodes.
That's true.
The Gigan one was alright. The two-parter Ghidorah one was okay. Like, in saying what those episodes are, they sound better than they actually were. So far, Godzilla's appearances have been pretty lackluster. The Gigan appearance in episode 11 and Godzilla fighting him was certainly better than episode
4?
Yes, much better than episode 3 or 4. Wow, that was quite freaky. You remember how we were talking about the spiritual connection between like spiritual, cinematically connected evil children genre of the late 60s and 70s with I'm not.
Did we ever talk about that? I don't remember.
You and I did privately, but The Exorcist. Okay. It's The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, and The Omen.
Okay.
There was something
of which
Hollywood
I've seen
had
Rosemary's Baby.
Evil children.
Which is great.
And we're going to see The Exorcist.
We gotta see
look,
The Exorcist together.
Do you get the evil child vibe? Because they're using green. They're using a green lighting on these children's faces when it's at night and it's all dark. What's the evil? There's a movie.
Children of the Corn.
Not just Children of the Corn, but there's one where they're blonde. There's these young children. It's been parodied over and over. I think they're either demonic. No, I'll have to look it up for the next episode.
Too many.
Just basically look up evil children in films, and it's like a group of small children, all with blonde hair, and they have psychic powers. There's going to be somebody who just knows this, and
I don't know.
They're freaky though.
Okay.
To the horror film aficionados that are watching, that are listening,
of which I am not.
I know a little. That's my favorite genre, but there's so much to explore.
That's because every single person can make a horror movie, it seems like you don't need money. You just need, like, fake blood.
Hopefully not real blood.
You just need fake blood in a house, and most people have a house. So, like, you can kind of pull it off. Physically, you have the ability to pull off one of those movies. I guess, it takes talent and writing ability and stuff.
They're using so much close-up
Yeah, this one's directed a little crazy. And
So
these
that's
kids,
why I say
so
again,
these evil kids are just kind of nuisances.
They're destroying
They're
everything.
taking baseball
they all have
bats.
bats and pipes, and
They look like the gang from Clockwork Orange.
except they're children.
Except they're children.
Everywhere that they're looting, it's empty. They're in some shop. No, never mind.
Ray.
I only watched about half of Clockwork Orange. I need to finish that one.
Oh my God, Drew! Watch
I love
Clockwork
Kubrick.
Orange.
I love Stanley Kubrick.
Watch. Oh man, dude, that movie is excellent. It's tough though; like it's a hard watch.
Isn't it? Well,
At least the first time around, it was.
This is a lot of Kubrick, but that one's more gruesome. Akira Zone Jr. luckily didn't partake in the medicine that has transformed these boys into mind-controlled Garogan henchmen. They're quite scary. We talked about using the overuse of close-up here. Perhaps not overuse, but they're using a lot of close-up on the children. It's kind of to emphasize that they're evil, because the children kind of have this blank stare. There is so many guns in this series. They're open fire.
Yeah, but he can't
and
freaking
Uzi at Zone Fighter.
That guy can't aim worth a darn.
Okay,
he was shooting. He was like the car was like 10 feet away from him. He was shooting the tires.
He was. Oh, well, if that was his.
I guess if that was his plan,
his intent was to shoot the tires.
Isn't their intent to kill Ultraman? Am I crazy here?
They have to slow them down. They can't destroy them outright. We have
get a sniper on that guy.
12 more episodes.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, with the problem of all of these series, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers included, and all the Super Sentai, probably every single Henshin hero genre, why don't they all attack at once? It's almost like the problem with every action fight scene in every action movie ever. When there's a bunch of henchmen and one hero fighting them, they all use the same attack style.
Well, yeah, and they take turns too. You know?
Yeah, it's the take your time. You know, you got to take them one on one. When realistically, Joe, holy crap! Even if you're taking on a whole room of henchmen one on one, by the time you get to this is what I can picture, the fifth or sixth one, you're worn down.
Oh, this is Joe discusses really good movies that Drew should see.
Okay.
Episode.
Have
you seen Old Boy?
Yes, I've seen. I love Old Boy.
Okay,
you're talking about the original.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never seen the Spike Lee one.
I don't want to see that one. Okay. I've heard about it. I loved Old Boy. And you're talking about the continuous shot.
Continuous shot and like the super long scene where everybody gets tired and it's like.
Well, you need to watch, Joe.
So good.
I mentioned it barely in probably part 2. It could have been part 1. Daredevil. The Marvel series, there's basically they do the same thing because Daredevil doesn't have powers aside from his like hyper senses where he can like hear like a block away and can sense heartbeats and blah blah blah. Anyway, fighting wise, he just can take a beating, but he's a regular guy. They do that where in it's definitely season 1, but in the earlier episodes, he enters into this base to like they captured a child. He's gonna like rescue the child. And all within one hallway, pulls an Old Boy, one take.
I bet they totally were like, let's do Old Boy right here.
Oh, totally. When I was watching, it was like, oh my gosh, they did the Old Boy scene. But yeah, he takes on like at least a dozen henchmen.
That's good.
And the great thing about that is similar to kind of Captain America, except I guess he's boosted up on super juice. He's like some kind of a superhuman. When you feel more gravity in the fighting of Daredevil, because at the end of the fight and throughout the fight, he's just like, the like superhero standing there, and he is visibly like tuckered out. It has worn him down to take down a dozen guys, but he does it as just a regular like vigilante hero. He's kind of the Batman of DC or of Marvel, except he does have like he has superpowers, so. Unlike Batman.
Right, yeah, super hearing or whatever.
Yeah,
something like that.
His senses are like super enhanced.
Yeah, I've never watched it. I've just heard Kevin Smith talk about it for like hours.
Daredevil's great. A great disappointment for me in watch. I loved Daredevil, but Jurassic World, Joe, who's the actor? I'm going to look it up in Daredevil, the TV series. But he was You know how the plot point in Jurassic Park where Chris Pratt he trains the
Raptor
raptors?
Man? The stupidest part of Jurassic World?
Yep,
Yeah, okay.
I fully agree. That actor,
it's okay.
though,
It's not like the series hasn't hit a lower point than that.
But that's
it's fine.
That plot point.
There's a cell phone ringing inside a Spinosaurus.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
In the third one.
He plays Kingpin in Daredevil. He was that like military guy that came in Jurassic World, and just gets killed. Like they didn't even need that plot point at all. Could have totally cut it out that they were military, like they were going to be used for military. Wouldn't have made any effect on the film. It would have still been like they have a cause for genetically engineered dinosaurs because they're
oh my god.
They're using them to attract customers because people are sick and tired of plain old dinosaurs.
Yeah, which is bullshit.
Yeah, well,
because people that must be why no one goes to zoos anymore. Oh,
see, exactly. It's a play.
Oh wait, no, the zoo is still super busy when you go to it, right?
Yes,
yeah,
but it's a play on. They're playing up that as consumers in the modern world, we're getting sick and tired of just regular. That we need bigger and better, and so that's what they played up to like a great degree in Jurassic World. But
I still like that movie.
They didn't have to be good movie. It's just the military part of it was completely unnecessary. Yeah. Anyway, Vincent D'Onofrio's performance in Daredevil, he plays Kingpin.
Yeah,
fantastic. He's more captivating than me as an actor and as a character in the show than Daredevil, played by Charlie Cox. Charlie Cox does a good performance, but Kingpin, such a gray area. Kingpin kills people outright, like just smashes this dude's head in a car door to kill him, and does all this horrible stuff. Yeah, you see some of his background, and anyway, it's the closest gray area for a villain that I've come to, and almost being convinced that the villain's the good guy when he's clearly a bad guy. And Vincent D'Onofrio does a great performance in that. So when I was like, ooh, he's in Jurassic World, his character's dumb, and the part of the story that he's involved in is very, very unnecessary.
I do like the big monsters in Jurassic World.
Vincent D'Onofrio in Full Metal Jacket, though, man. He's a Private Pile. I never seen shit stacked so high.
Is he the kid?
He's the one that shoots himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Vincent
got it.
D'Onofrio.
Yeah, he was kind of chubby in that one.
Yeah, but yeah, and he's a lot younger.
Oh man.
So the monster
what is this
here,
monster?
I want to look up because I'm liking this monster. This is the monster. I don't know if it has a name that is formed by the small children. They merge together to form a big dog beast.
It's like a dog beast with a vest on. That's how I would describe him. It's got like a silver, like a silver jumpsuit.
He's got some very interesting looking horns. They're like clear, see-through. They're a clear plastic.
Yeah, those are kind of cool. You don't really see them that well against the studio sky background.
No,
to
we're
be
getting
honest,
some more and more as well. We're getting like half robot, half biological monsters. We say it's very apparent that they are just visually because a lot of the suit is silver, and then another part of it's like green. It's hard to describe how bad they look sometimes because this looks really cheap.
I think he's alright looking.
It amazes me how
it's kind of dorky, but
it amazes me how popular this all is. Zen Dola. So I'm looking up this monster.
There's some cool missile strikes here. Oh, he's got these big floppy, he's got missile hands, but they're kind of he was doing a little dance where they're all super floppy. It looked really funny.
Yeah. Not the same monster. Zen Dola. I don't know, Joe. It's really hard to look up these monsters. It's hard to look up Zone Fighter. I'm amazed we're watching it and doing all this for it.
He picked up the missiles.
People throughout history have not cared for Zone Fighter. Not much information on it. So Zen Dola shot rockets at Zone Fighter, and mid-flight, Zone Fighter grabbed them, reversed them, and threw them back at Zen Dola.
That's awesome.
The play-by-play. And Zone Fighter is kneeing Zandora in the stomach.
Flipped him over
his shoulder using his Uzi punch technique, I believe. Which is, I think it was a modified form of a Zone Fighter's Uzi punch technique, which is just like lightning fast punches at the monster. He just used that modified in order to rub the stick underneath his armpit.
How many hours of footage do they have of Zone Fighter doing flips in the air?
The real question is, yes, in Zone Fighter period, but in all of these tokusatsu, Henshin Hero, Super Sentai, I swear, and I want to say Giant Mecha, but it seems there's less on those series. There's definitely... Like, Super Sentai is kind of a mashup of Giant Mecha, and I guess Super Sentai is its own genre outright, although it's also a series. Because Henshin Hero, a genre with multiple series underneath the hood of Henshin Hero. This is the first time we've seen a POV from the meteor missiles.
Straight up POV shot.
It's like the camera's in Zone Fighter's chest as we're appearing.
I bet they were like, oh, what if we do this? Like,
that would be an interesting shot.
They just had a huge, like, oh, we could do something new.
They can. Yes, they can. You know what I haven't seen done in the last few episodes, Joe?
Yes, we can.
The plot device of, like, Zone Fighter running out of power with his belt. It hasn't been used for several episodes.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, he's just had enough... Just had enough juice in his belt.
I got these ones. I mean, come on, we're mid-series here. We can
lose the plot device of, oh no, I'm running out of batteries.
Did you get into a ton of fights as a kid?
As a child, no. As a teenager, yeah. I didn't get into fights. I would end fights. No.
Yeah.
What had happened is, because, Joe, you kind of hung out with our group of friends, late junior high, early high school.
We're saying this because there's a fight in the schoolyard for like a second.
Immediately following. It seems as if the children who were the like Garogan kill squad have no memory of what happened to them, because immediately after Zandora was pulled apart, the children who were turned into Garogans and then turned into the giant monster Zandora somehow unmorphed and were completely unharmed, because you can't kill children.
That's right.
They've killed a grown man so far in this series. But we're starting in episode 15, and then I'll get into fights.
Yeah, okay. Episode 15, 3, 2, 1, go.
So the brainwashed children didn't have any memory of it. Oh, Godzilla's in episode 15.
Oh, there we go.
One of his about 5 or 6 appearances.
Like a drill monster.
This is Zen Dola.
Oh, this is Zen Dola. Okay.
The last one was Zandora. This is Zen Dola. Zen Dola's skin is a light blue color. His head is a light beige color and is shaped like a drill.
All right,
it's definitely the identifying feature of Zen Dola. Do you want to read the synopsis and then I'll get into fighting?
I'll let you read the synopsis.
Okay, and then I'll get into my history with fights.
Yeah, so like I've gotten in like
anybody?
I've gotten in like 3 fights in my life. So I was not much of a fighter.
Were these with friends or
these were only with friends?
Okay. And are these like physical altercations you're talking about?
Yeah. The latest one was like 3 months ago. Me and Caleb Schweiss got in a fist fight. For real.
Okay, that's more interesting than this, but I'm going to read the synopsis really quick, and then we'll get into that, because we need some info on episode 15. Okay. Episode 15, it's sinking! Godzilla, save Tokyo. Oh, I guess Zone Fighter isn't making an appearance in this one.
Oh, that's too bad.
This is purely a Godzilla episode now. Director, Kengo Furusawa. Director of Special Effects, Koichi Kawakita. Writer, wow, there's 2 writers for this one, credited. Koei Ogura and Norio Komata. Story. A succession of earthquakes is striking the center of Tokyo. The epicenter is being observed by the meteorological agency, but the cause of the earthquake is so far undetermined. Driving the Mighty Liner, that's their car for the Zone Fighters. Hikaru finds his path blocked by an unusual amount of earth. Driving back in another direction, he is ambushed by the Garoga. However, after transforming the Mighty Liner into its flying form, he quickly finishes off his adversaries from the sky. Back at the Sakamori home, the family ascertain the current events are a result of a Garoga attempt to sink Tokyo along with the Sakamori home. by connecting the city's subways with underground caves, causing the whole city to fall into the ground. Investigating alone, Akira ventures out to the clearing where the caves are located, but accidentally falls into one of the caves below and becomes trapped. Upon discovering that Akira has gone alone, Hikaru and Hotaru take Mighty Liner and Smokey in pursuit. I just figured out what Smokey is. Smokey is the name of their, like, jet that most often Zone Angel and Zone Junior fly wall zone fighters in his giant form in order to help him. As the two arrive at the clearing, the terror beast Zen Dola, responsible for digging out the underground tunnels, makes its way to the surface. As the monster moves back underground, a Zone Fighter changes into his giant form, but as the ground collapses beneath his feet, he falls into the cave below. Although able to bring Akira to the surface, the battle with Sandora continues underground, and Zone Fighter soon finds himself trapped below. But as Zen Dola makes its way back to the surface, Godzilla appears, and a fierce battle ensues. After escaping from the cave, Zone Fighter joins Godzilla, and the two work together to take down the monster, saving Tokyo from sinking underground.
Okay. How many fights you get into as a kid?
How many did I get into? So, all my friends are nerds. I'm a nerd. Joe.
We don't fight.
I'm going to be a little vain here, but I didn't. My friends were big guys, and I've always been a scrawny kid, but I didn't. I mean, I guess I look like a nerd. I hung out with the nerds, but like often the cool kids would like tolerate me because they're like, okay, he's kind of cool, I guess. But
I didn't know any cool kids in high school. I don't know who those people were.
I didn't want to hang out with them.
Who were the cool kids anyway?
I can name a few, but in case they ever, by first name only, Riley. He was a pretty cool kid. He came to the Halo things we did.
Riley.
But anyway, the thing that would happen is sometimes some of those cool kids would want to be picking on my friends, and so I would stand in between them, and I never felt comfortable ever in the conflicts, but I would get fed up with it, and so they would sit there and go on and berate friends, just like shit all over them, and it was horrible, and I just hated it. So we'd let it go on, get so terrible until it hit this breaking point where like I would just smack them. And then they would stop. That was what happened several times, like through junior high, and it happened at least once in high school, not at school, but at like at a church function thing. Anyway, I was into that when I was growing up. And that's really what would happen is I would just smack them. Like it was really weird, but they would get up in your face, start yelling at you. Like that's what it would end up being, is like just yelling at you, and pretty much completely involuntarily, it was usually a backhand. I would just hit them, and then they would just kind of stop, and they never came back. And I mean, it was never like I'm not proud of having done any of that, but like I'm glad that they would just stop.
Okay.
And really dumb that the bullies would even get to that point. Children are unusual, and
see, I never had that much problems growing up. Like I would get made fun of by people, but I would always take it in stride. I was also the funny kid. Yeah. So I could morph into multiple. You could
turn it around.
I could morph into multiple groups. That was one thing. That would just kind of float. I didn't have any like people bugging me. I did get in a physical altercation with a friend who like threw a grasshopper at me. And I went and grabbed him, and then Dylan had to pull me off of him.
Whoa.
I didn't like punch him. I just usually just grab people. I've never punched anyone. So the same thing that happened with like Caleb Schweiss. We got in a fight about something really stupid, and he punched me, and then I just grabbed onto him and took him to the ground, and then Cameron got me off of him. So
at least he started.
I know how to use my weight. I'll jump on people and then pull them down. I weigh a lot, so it's the day when I'm, I guess I would have been even better 50 pounds ago. But
I've definitely never had weight on my side. No. I've had a fast metabolism.
I've always had weight on my side, and people usually that might be part of it too. Like I was a big guy. Like I wasn't tall, but I was like football player structured, like pretty thick looking, and maybe people leave you alone that way, but I've never had a problem with like bullies. I always see it in movies all the time, like it's like a huge thing.
Well, it's okay.
But I don't know what the difference between a bully is and like maybe you just don't know how to take a joke or like
it's way more over the top.
Where's the line?
Bullies are not extremely well represented, not well represented at all, and they should be in TV and movies, because the way bullies work in real life is 100 times more subtly. They have to be in order to get away with it in front of teachers and parents and blah blah blah, but they just slowly egg at you, like egg it on, I mean. And yeah, I've sat at plenty of, you knew our high school group, at least some of them. A good portion of them played Magic in the library. And what would happen, I mean, Craig was all over that. That's all Craig did. Caleb Craig would just sit and play Magic every day, before school, during lunch, and after school. And often, I didn't play Magic then, but I really liked all those guys, and I thought they were funny and cool. They were nerds, but I that's my group.
Super
and so,
nerds.
Yes, super nerds if you're playing Magic every single day. But I would sit with them and just talk with them, and I didn't even understand what was going on, but not all the time, but pretty often. And very often, some cool kids like would walk over.
Cool kids in quotes.
Yeah, really stupid jackasses, but they would come up and kind of like not directly make fun of anybody, but you know what they're getting at. They're just trying to like assert their superiority over them, and it was usually because they wanted to impress a girl. And honestly, if these girls are being impressed by putting down other people, yeah, those are the girls you want to go for, right? Man,
well, everybody in high school is dumb, so.
But even in high school, I realized how dumb that was, what they were doing. I'm like, if the girl is impressed by this, she's a horrible girl. She's just trashy, and yeah, there you go.
I was told by someone that my cynicism had grown in the last 2 years. Like I haven't talked to this person since probably about high school.
It sounds like Lord Sidious saying, "Yes, your cynicism has grown stronger."
No, here's what happened. They just recently graduated from the same college I did, and it's my best friend's sister. And he had to go pick her up, and I was at a party with him, and I was like, I don't want to be here with all these people. I don't know anybody. So I just went with him, and we picked her up, and I just kind of started egging her about she graduated with an associate's degree. That was one thing, and she walked with it. I'm like, why are you walking with an associate's degree? Like, why is that?
Well, that's just you being a blunt asshole, just saying.
Well, I didn't walk with an associate's degree. I got that thing in the mail. Like, I walked with a bachelor's. But like an associate's degree is a nothing degree. It's like a second high school diploma. Anyway, so I just like, I guess, culinary arts is pretty good. Domino's hiring.
You jackass.
Come on, it's funny.
It is funny.
Is that bullying or is that just funny?
If the person can take a joke.
So it has to do with if the person can take it.
Yeah.
It's the victim's fault, Drew.
Okay. Wow. We're talking about bullies, and here we are.
I got so much shit from elementary school on, and I could take it probably because my dad makes fun of people all the time, makes fun of me, or maybe that's why I'm just in a home environment that's not a safe, emotionally safe environment sometimes. Nope. Because like my dad would call me a sissy and crap like that, and it was funny, but it was like it's just like
I would not. Have
my dad
funny
would do
if
that.
My father called me that.
Really? Okay,
nope.
all right. Anyway, so that's where I come from. People would call me Ginger all the time because I have red hair. They would call me fat all the time because I was fat.
Joe, I love you, by the way.
This would happen, okay? And you know how many times I cryed about it? 0.
This is like
of course I can give it back.
You're peeling back layers
really
to
quickly.
Joe's psyche, because I'm just understanding more and more. You got a soft, hard candy shell. No,
hard candy shell.
Your insides are rock. Because you're like, how many times did I cry? 0.
So I don't know. I always question what is bullying. Like there is bullying where it's like actually a threat, like a serious emotional threat.
Yeah.
And then there's people just making fun of each other. Like, you know how many times what we call Caleb Craig probably more than we could say his name? We call him fat ass.
Well, that's because you guys are just a big group of jackasses.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
Okay, people most readily identify bullying as this huge overt thing. It's so often. And
I've always had a question like whether or not I was a bully that entire time.
The majority of the time, nah. I mean, when you're within a group of friends that you feel most comfortable with, I think you all like kind of devolve. You fall into these grooves where you're just comfortable saying it as it is, and even if it does if it becomes a problem and it hurts the person like bad enough, then after a certain amount of time they're going to start saying, hey man, stop saying that, and you're going to keep joking, yeah, you don't mean that, no man, you need to stop saying that, and then you don't mean it. And then they go, no, you have to stop, and then it's like, oh, they're actually mean, like they're serious. Because if it goes on for long enough and they just accept it, when it gets to the point that they're fed up with it, you don't believe them the first few times that they say, no man, you got to stop. No, bullying is very small, unkind acts that happen over a course of like a long time,
or like actual physical altercations.
But
I knew that with few people.
Don't happen.
I know that they happen. They never happen around me, so I don't have any experience with that.
If that does happen, because it didn't happen around me either, it was always just verbal abuse. Like it's there. If you experience bullying to like the degree where it's really poisonous, like it is verbally just horrible. There's a difference between calling somebody like you as a group of friends call Caleb a fat ass all the time. There's a difference between that and really fat, toxically calling someone something. I don't know. There's a spirit of intent that goes along with the bullying that you can identify. It feels different. But anyway, I never actually hit anybody. I just backhanded them.
Just backhanded.
Because, and again, it was an involuntary response. They were getting like so absurdly close to us and just yelling and calling us terrible things. And this happened with separate people on separate occasions over the years. And then you'd smack them and you just kind of walk away. I don't know. It's really awkward after that because nobody knows what to do.
All right. So some people just disintegrated on screen. Like
Zen
literally,
Dola.
They were zapped and they turned into the blue flames, and then suddenly there were two human-shaped
piles of ash, debris
on the beach. So
we're
that
talking
just
about
happened.
Zone Fighter. We're not talking about a bullying experience in our past. This is happening on screen.
Let me explain something. Okay, so when I flipped my bike over and I like screwed up my wrists like 2 months ago, I called my dad. Talking about it, like, should I go to the hospital or should I not? And I told him what I had done. I was like, oh, well, I took like an Epsom salt bath. And as soon as I said that, this is what my father's response was. Did you do your nails while you were in there as well? And I laughed because it's funny, Drew.
Again, Joe, with the spirit of intent that you can just kind of sense, your dad is joking.
Yeah.
If he was doing it mean-spiritedly,
the problem
I just watched American Beauty where the father is abusive. He just hates faggots, which is what he calls them. Not that's a terribly offensive term, and I don't want to say that. But like,
yeah, but we all know why.
But like,
at the
that's
end
what
of the movie.
Yes, all I'm saying is that father, in relation to your father, they're miles apart.
But my father would probably say the same things, but as a joke.
Yeah.
I don't think he would ever say faggots. I've never heard my dad say that.
Well, that's good.
But I realize that I've taken that from my father.
Yeah.
And other people don't.
Oh.
Other people really
my goodness.
don't
I've been
like
around
it.
you for years and now I understand it. Okay. Joe, you need to have this entire conversation, this 20-minute conversation we just had with every single one of your friends so they can go, oh, that was like a eureka.
Is that why Joe is an asshole?
I just had an aha moment where now I can better cope with your humor
they're all jokes,
because I understand everything that goes into it.
Anyway, I was told I was gotten more cynical than last time.
I think that just comes from you're critically evaluating certain things. Final Fantasy games, now Godzilla movies.
Well, I could tell her that she has a job and I'm unemployed. Like, she could have pulled that one pretty easily. I'd be like, yep.
Also, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this in general. As I've attempted, because I've gotten more adept at your style of humor throughout the last few years, I try to pull it on close friends, and it works when they're close friends. I've noticed that girls don't take that type of humor.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's why women hate me, Drew. They absolutely cannot stand me.
You said it, not me.
And that's why I just wish I was gay. It would just make this way easier. Hey, Drew. How's it going? What are you doing this
Joe
weekend?
and I have a large degree of separation between us on this couch. Not that I have anything against any sexual orientations, but Joe, when you come out to all of us, we will cite this line in the podcast.
Oh, man, I wish. I wish that there was like a physical... Nope, nothing.
But then, Joe, would you be... Because, I mean... Okay, I'm completely out of my field in depth here.
Would you be open to...
No, I'm completely out of... I have a girlfriend and I'm happily girlfriended. I'm happily in a relationship.
Oh, Godzilla. Sweet. Showing up against the drill monster.
Dola, please save me from this conversation. Nah.
You uncomfortable, Drew?
Nah, I'm not as comfortable as you'd like to be, Joe.
Oh, so comfortable.
Godzilla appears to take out Zen Dola. Oh, let me finish Zen Dola's, speaking of which, description. I actually like him.
They always have like a 20-minute epilogue with these after the 20-minute battle, so...
All right, here we go. Zen Dola's skin is light blue color. His head is a light beige color and is shaped like a drill. Definitely his identifying feature is that he has a huge drill head.
He has a drill.
He has no eyes, mouth, or any other features of a face. The tip of his drill head is the same color as his claw.
What's so funny? I don't know.
Same color as his claw-like hands, which are a dark brown. He has a long tail, which is also his skin color. His kneecaps and part of his arms are a darker blue color. Abilities. For melee, Zen Dola sticks to a basic hard-hitting punches. He can also use his drill head in battle. He can either use it to bury his opponents or penetrate them, like he did to Zone Fighter, or he can just flat out use it as a weapon. Zen Dola is also capable of emitting steam from his hands that is strong enough to ward off opponents.
Is that from his hands, though? I'm looking at him emitting the steam. It looks like
the
it's
steam comes from
like
underneath
his head.
His head, which is just a big drill pointed upwards.
Yeah.
Zen Dola is a cool monster. It's like one of the rare cases where an extremely simple design. It's pretty cool.
Well, Larry, let's make a giant hat out of drill.
Yeah, his hat, which is his entire. It's mostly his his whole head, but it's like takes up most of his upper body. Is just a big drill. Like it said, no facial features, no eyes, no face. So Godzilla's taking care of Zen Dola. Oh, there we go. There's the mist from his wrists.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Godzilla is taking care of Zen Dola because Zone Fighter is currently being buried underground. If you didn't catch it in the synopsis, the whole terror in this episode. Oh, wow. That's kind of a crazy special effect.
Yeah,
you were able to see all in one screen. You want to...
Yeah, so on the screen, so we got Ultraman is stuck underground. I think it's Ultraman. Zone Fighter. And
they look the same.
They look the same, and I've never watched Ultraman, but, looking at the one picture of Ultraman has now made me screw this up.
Yep.
So Zone Fighter is underground, but we saw a wide shot of Godzilla fighting the drill monster, and then, the ground underneath in the foreground of the shot, it phased. It faded into a piece of film where Zone Fighter was underground. So it was kind of a cool little layered shot.
All in one shot, you got to see Godzilla fighting Zen Dola and
Zone Fighter stuck
underground.
Under the thing, which is it's pretty cool actually. It's really
it's quite a good shot. Yes.
Well.
The special effects in this
I always look for words that I know are the right word to say, and I can't freaking find the word.
You want to know, and this is to our guests as well, our listening audience, have you ever heard of Ginkgo biloba?
I don't do that kind of sexual, disgusting act.
It's something I take daily. It's crushed up leaves.
Oh, okay.
But it's just it's an all-natural supplement. It's for memory.
If I hear the word all-natural one more time, I'm going to punch you in the goddamn face. Sorry, go ahead.
It's just crushed up leaves, Joe.
Okay, it's crushed up leaves. Got it. It's like a tea.
From they encapsulate it and you just take it daily. It's supposed to help the blood flow in your certain areas of your brain, blah, blah, blah. It's actually one of the...
Yeah, sure, we can call it the brain.
Yeah, anyway. But it helps with memory recall, memory retention and recall. And I've taken it for a couple months now. Seems to actually work.
Or is it a... what is that? Oh,
it helps for these podcasts.
What is the word?
I know what you're talking about.
What is the word, Drew?
Joe just went nuts. It's a placebo.
Placebo! That's the word. The word was
Joe just about shoved the microphone through his forehead.
God, dude.
Yeah, there you go.
It
Joe,
helps with memory. What is it called? No, I don't remember.
You should try some ginkgo.
And then, of course, you
Joe.
go, placebo. Oh, thanks. I just assume it's a lack of sleep thing.
Well, because do you know what sleep, in all the studies of sleep that they've done, because sleep is still actually, our need for sleep is a big mystery, when it comes to the science of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
The one of the only concrete things that they have that sleep, what it does for us, is the storing of long-term memory. If you don't get enough sleep, because what you're doing when you're sleeping is your body is taking all the things you've done that day and storing them away and making it easier to recall the memory, and you're actually forming the long-term memories if you get enough sleep. When you're not doing that, it's going to mess up a lot of your short-term and long-term memory.
Generally, I figure out there's a middle point in the day where I'm best at podcasting.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm the same way.
The early part of the day, if I just woke up, the second show will be the better show. Then again, if it's too late, then the first show will be the better show and the second one will be worse. So
you'll just be more alert.
Yeah, I'll be more alert and I'll be faster at responses and stuff like that. So we just saw a very interesting scene while Drew was talking and I didn't want to interrupt him. Zone Fighter and Godzilla, after they defeat the monster, they look at each other and they literally nod at each other, and then he starts walking towards him as if he's going to hug him, and then it cut away.
I'm
it was a weird moment.
Enjoying the bromance of Godzilla and Zone Fighter. They have quite a cool partnership.
Beautiful.
Camaraderie.
It's beautiful.
So that was episode 15?
That was episode 15. So that ends part 3.
We get a break. That was 2 hours.
Part 3 of our Zone Fighter commentaries.
And that is why ending part 3, you should keep it G.